You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN Emini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things Emini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro. Joining us today, Mr. Michael Borth. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Wednesday, 8th day of April, 2026. Thanks for joining us. Whoever you are, wherever you are, we're just glad to have you right here, right now. We do 2 live broadcasts every trading day. The first broadcast is our live training room, so to get in there, you got to be a member or taking your 1-week free trial. This broadcast, on the other hand, is open to the public. Everybody, everywhere on planet Earth with an internet-connected device. There's 2 different ways to join this afternoon broadcast live. The best way, you only got to do it once. Go to mytradingiq.com. Scroll down the page to where it says Noon Broadcast. Click the link, fill out the registration form, and you're done. What will happen going forward is every trading day, you'll get an email about an hour before this broadcast starts. In the email, there's a link, so at 12 noon Eastern, just click the link in the email, and it'll automatically log you into our platform. The benefit there is you'll immediately have access to the question box, so you can ask questions and participate in the discussion. Of course, there'll be days you're out of the office, away from your desktop, but you still want to join live. And some days you'll be busy, so you can't join live, but you want to get caught up later. You can do both of those via our YouTube channel, which is easy to remember. youtube.com/CFRN. That's the Christian Financial Radio Network since 2005. Not only do we broadcast live every trading day on our YouTube channel, as we're doing right now, simulcasting, but we also archive each and every daily broadcast. Currently, there's over 3,000 daily episodes archived for your educational and viewing pleasure. And if you're new to our neck of the woods, it's a great way to get to know who we really are. Thanks to the power of YouTube, you can scroll back 6 days, 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years, a lot more. Obviously, you're not going to watch them all, nor do you need to. But it's a great resource to have at your fingertips because it does allow you to see how we've evolved over all these years, day by day by day. youtube.com/CFRN. On the left side of the screen is our schedule for each afternoon broadcast. Michael will join us at the top of the hour, 1 p.m. Eastern, give or take, for a recap of what happened this morning in the live training room, and then do some live trading as time and the markets permit. Now we will dive into our daily devotional, which is where we start each and every day. And then we'll go to the numbers from around the world, and then the news, and then the alerts and the charts. Now the topic we're on right now in our daily devotional Where are you, God? It's been almost a month. Our scripture today is 2 Timothy 2 verses 8 through 10 from the NIV translation. Remember Jesus Christ, raised from the dead, descended from David. This is my gospel, for which I am suffering, even to the point of being chained like a criminal. But God's word is not chained. Therefore I endure everything for the sake of the elect, that they too may obtain the salvation that is in Christ Jesus with eternal glory. Again, 2 Timothy 2 verses 8 through 10. In a 100% Muslim province of northern Africa, Nabil became the first believer in his remote village through reading a New Testament Bible. Years later, a teenager named Ahmad would encounter the same life-changing book in an unexpected way. At the village coffee house, Ahmad met Nabil, not knowing he had become a Christian. After our discussion, he gave me a book and said, "You might want to read this." I didn't realize it then, but it was the New Testament. Ahmad found himself captivated by what he read. The Sermon on the Mount spoke directly to his Muslim understanding of prayer and fasting, but with revolutionary new meaning. Desperate for truth, he prayed, "God, if you are giving me a chance, speak to me and answer my question. What is the way to God? If it is Muhammad and Islam, let me know. If it is Jesus, let me know." As he continued reading through the Gospels, he found his answer in John 14:6. I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. Now, if you have a red letter edition, that was Jesus speaking. Ahmad's journey led him to Europe for theological studies. The young man had once secretly read the New Testament, became a pastor, and served in Europe for 12 years. In 2017, Ahmad returned to Northern Africa with an audacious vision to establish the region's first underground seminary. In a nation where Christian education is illegal, 12 Muslim background believers now study God's Word in secret. After graduation, the students serve in the underground churches, Ahmad explains. Even though they've closed the physical churches, we continue in house churches with 5 to 7 people in each. Today, Ahmad watches as 200 believers from across Northern Africa gather annually, a number that would have seemed impossible in his village years ago. From one New Testament in a remote village to an underground movement of courageous Jesus followers, God's Word is transforming nations, one heart at a time. What started with a teenager's curiosity has become a seminary, a house church network, and a growing regional movement. So how might the word you share today impact someone's eternity? Ahmad's story proves that one conversation, one book, one act of courage can launch movements that span continents. For the last 2 devotionals in this series, we will return to the book of Revelation, properly known as the Revelation of Jesus Christ. This last book of the Bible is a series of visions that the Apostle John received while in prison on the Isle of Patmos. Much of the vision is about the last days before Jesus returns. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, help us to remember Jesus Christ in all things and to remain faithful, even in trials. Strengthen us to endure with purpose, knowing that your truth cannot be bound. Use our lives to bring hope and salvation to others, and keep us steadfast in your calling. It's in Jesus' name we believe and pray. And everybody said, Amen. Amen, and happy Wednesday. Let me give you the numbers from around the world. We'll start here in the U.S. with the cash markets, or the indices as they're called. Currently the Dow up 1,254 points, well over 2.5%. NASDAQ up 639, almost 3%. S&P 500 up 159, 2.5%. The Russell 2000 up 79, almost 3.25%. In the commodity basket, crude oil down $18.22, trading 94.72 last. That's a drop of over 16%. Gold up $100.80, trading 47.8570 last. That's a gain of almost 2.25%. Silver up $3.78, trading 75.77 last. That's a gain of 5.25%. In the Asian markets at the close, the Nikkei posted a gain of 2,878 points, almost 5.5%. The Shanghai rose 104, 2.75%. The Hang Seng gained 776, just over 3%. And in the European markets at the close, FTSE up 260, almost, 2.5%. The DAX up 1,085, almost 5%. And the CAC up 355, 4.5%. So we had a green day in Asia. It was a green day for the UK. And it's a big green Radio Wednesday here in the US of A. Now, before you get too carried away, just remember, the pendulum swings both ways. I know we supposedly have a 2-week reprieve here, but one Truth Social post could send that pendulum back in the other direction. So don't get too comfortable up here, because it's not over till that lady sings. You know who I'm talking about. News. The U.S. and Iran agreed to a temporary 2-week ceasefire yesterday afternoon, finding an off-ramp to avoid potential widespread strikes across Iran. The agreement was mediated by Pakistan, with officials pointing to the possibility of a longer-term pause in fighting. In the hours leading up to the cutoff, President Donald Trump levied threats against Iran online, including that a whole civilization would die if Iranian officials failed to strike a deal. The post came after the U.S. carried out more than 90 strikes on Iran's oil export hub at Karg Island, a strategic outcropping surrounded by deep waters needed for supertankers and capable of exporting 7 million barrels of oil per day. Separately, an Iranian-backed militia in Iraq reportedly released U.S. hostage Shelley Kittleson. And of course, no sooner was the deal agreed to than Iran started lobbing missiles not only at Israel, but their Arab neighbors. Now, some are saying it's because they don't have good communication, and it's like in World War II. Remember that Japanese soldier that was on that island for like, I don't know, 30 years? He didn't know the war was over, right? I mean, I don't know if I buy that story about them not being aware, but we'll see. I mean, if this thing goes on for more than, if they keep firing rockets a day later, then they've already broken the deal, and Trump's going to have to do what he's got to do. But he gave him a shot, and then he gave him another shot, and now he's giving him yet another shot to do the right thing. So we'll see. The UK's Wireless Festival was cancelled after the government blocked Ye, the artist formerly known as Kanye West, from entering the country amid backlash over his headlining slot. Ye applied Monday for entry under the UK's Electronic Travel Authorization System, a required online clearance for visa-free short stays, but officials denied the request on the grounds that his presence is not conducive to the public good. The decision followed backlash over previous anti-Semitic, racist, and Nazi-supportive remarks, which he has since apologized for. Supporters framed the dispute as a free speech issue, while critics said the government was right to block him because of his anti-Semitic history. Organizers said sponsor withdrawals played a part in the decision to cancel and refund tickets. The Wireless Festival was set for July 10th through 12th in London, with Ye the only act announced so far. Pre-sale tickets reportedly sold out before the general sale was due to open today. Ye last performed in Britain at Glastonbury way back in 2015. Turning to Wall Street, and Iran agreed to a 2-week ceasefire that could lead to a reopening of the strait. We'll see. Global markets saw a return of risk appetite after President Trump called for a 2-week suspension in hostilities in return for Tehran lifting its blockade of the strait. He wrote on Truth Social, "I agree to suspend the bombing and attack of Iran for a period of 2 weeks. This will be a double-sided ceasefire." Well, so far, not so much. Iran's Minister of Foreign Affairs confirmed acceptance of the terms in a statement shortly after Trump's announcement, saying if attacks on Iran are halted, its own operations would cease, and that for a period of 2 weeks, safe passage through the Strait of Hormuz will be possible via coordination with Iran's armed forces. Some ships have since transited the crucial 21-mile wide waterway, signs of a reopening that will have the most direct effect on energy markets. Well, oil's definitely down today. I just don't know. Because the Strait of Hormuz appears to remain largely blocked as ship owners try to figure out if they can safely transit the vital waterway following the ceasefire agreement. A total of 7 ships were seen exiting the region since yesterday morning, while 3 vessels entered, according to tracking data compiled by Bloomberg. total peacetime transit stood at about 135 a day last year, more than 800 freighters are stuck inside the Gulf, mostly waiting to leave. While ship owners and insurer groups lined up to welcome the ceasefire, they also warned that more details will be needed to determine if safe transit is possible. Iran has said a precondition of the ceasefire is that its armed forces should coordinate navigation through what is the world's most important oil channel. Tehran has been charging a toll of as much as $2 million a transit for some carriers. Time will tell whether it's a pause or a peace. But in the meantime, it is highly unlikely that trade into the Gulf will simply resume. The region remains at heightened risk, with none of the underlying tensions resolved. The crew on one vessel reported hearing a warning from Iran that navigation through the strait still requires permission from the Islamic Republic, according to a person with knowledge of the matter, offering a reminder of the uncertainty ship owners are facing. Yeah. I pray this thing works out, but these guys have been lying to us for 47 years. Now, this gets interesting. The Iranian regime is looking to charge fees of $1 per barrel of oil for tankers crossing the Strait of Hormuz, with payments to be made in cryptocurrency, according to the Financial Times this morning. In the minutes after the news broke, prices on major cryptos surged. Bitcoin rose 5% to trade above 71,700 after pairing earlier gains that had pushed the asset above 72,000. Solana and Ethereum picked up 7% and 8% respectively, after also giving up steeper gains earlier in the session. No preference for which cryptocurrency the payment should be made in was reported. And currently Bitcoin's it's up $3,266 on the session, trading 71,378. There's another reason for that too. The US dollar index is cratering as it loses the war premium that had built up during the Iran conflict. It's on track for its third biggest decline of the year, wiping out all of its gains since March 3rd, while the Bloomberg Dollar Spot Index has erased its entire 2026 advance. That reversal is lighting a fire under risk assets, especially foreign markets that were hit hard when the dollar surged off its January lows. The iShares Emerging Markets ETF is on track for its biggest jump since the post-Liberation Day surge on April 9th of 2025. And a key Saudi oil pipeline to the Red Sea suffered only limited damage from an earlier drone strike on one of its pumping stations, according to people familiar with the matter. The damage from the strike Wednesday afternoon, which they're a day behind us, was limited and contained, one of the people said the pipeline was not shut down as a result of the strike. Saudi Aramco declined to comment on the strike. The East-West pipeline has served as a vital lifeline for getting oil from Saudi Arabia's fields along the Persian Gulf to the port of Yanbu on the western Red Sea coast, effectively bypassing the largely closed Strait of Hormuz. The kingdom has cranked up flows through the link to full capacity, allowing close to 5 million barrels a day to be exported, or about 70% of total pre-war levels. A shipping agent and trader both said that loadings continued at the port of Yanbu without any interruption on Wednesday. Turning to the U.S., Texas education officials are considering adding passages and books from the Bible to required reading lists for students, according to the New York Times. The proposed reading list from the Texas State Board of Education for 7th grade students includes selections from the book of Jonah, the story of David and Goliath in 1 Samuel, the story of the Tower of Babel in Genesis, and chapter 3 of the book of Lamentations. The board is scheduled to meet in Austin this week for a preliminary vote on the reading list and will have a final vote in June. If approved, the new required list would not take effect until 2030. What? CBS News reported that other Bible stories on the list include the parable of the prodigal son for first grade students, the road to Damascus for third graders, and Ecclesiastes and the book of Job in high school English classes. In 2023, the Texas legislature passed a law requiring the state's education agency to recommend at least one required Bible reading per grade in K through 12 schools, according to CBS. The state agency surveyed thousands of teachers to compile a list of around 300 literary works that include Bible selections and classic literature. 2030? Wow. Throughout recorded history, military power has been a universal value, regardless of civilization, culture, but sadly, individual freedom and democracy have not been and still are not recognized as universal values. The recent U.S. military success in Venezuela has been the source of considerable benefits to the U.S. and its citizens, to wit, enabling the U.S. to safeguard its geopolitical national interest in the Americas, significant curtailment of illegal drug smuggling, enhancement of U.S. military credibility internationally, and ending the cheap, free Venezuelan oil for countries hostile to the U.S. The ongoing U.S. military successes in Iran have benefited the U.S. in multiple significant ways. First, the almost complete destruction of Iran's nuclear and ballistic missile programs has ended a very significant military threat to the U.S. and allies. Second, the complete destruction of Iran's air defenses. Hostile to the U.S., the Air Force, the Navy, sends a very tough and credible message to U.S. adversaries and allies about the strength, lethality, and effectiveness of the U.S. military. Third, the destruction of Iran's terrorist proxies and Iran's military, and the realignment of alliances in the region has provided an opportunity for peace in the region after many centuries of bloodshed and strife. Finally, this was a much-needed and long overdue retribution for the U.S. soldiers injured or killed by Iran over the past 47 years. So while the U.S. military action in Iran has been a source of many benefits to the U.S., a collateral negative effect has been the increase in world oil prices, and of course the associated increase in gas prices at the pump for U.S. consumers. An analysis of the increase in gas prices in the context of U.S. gas prices during the past 2 decades would allow for a more informed and rational discussion of the pros and cons of the Iran conflict. U.S. gas prices from 2000 to 2006. During the Obama administration, gas prices quickly increased to $4 a gallon and generally stayed between $3 and $4 for most of his term. During Trump 1.0, gas prices stayed between $2 and $3. During the Biden administration, gas prices quickly rose to about $5, then declined to about $3. During Trump 2.0, gas prices mostly declined, with the exception of March 2026, when prices increased to about $4. So, the price we're paying at the pump, that's a small price to pay. Due to inflation, a dollar in 2010 was worth more in terms of goods and services than a dollar could purchase in 2020, which was worth more than a dollar today. Average gas prices during the current Trump administration are about 34 cents per gallon less than during the Biden administration. Inflation-adjusted average gas prices during the current Trump administration are about 67 cents per gallon less than during the Biden administration. The cause of the current increase in gas prices is the military conflict in Iran. As noted earlier, the ongoing U.S. military successes in Iran have benefited the U.S. in significant ways, and you're still paying less for gas than you did under Biden. I know it still stings when you go to fill up that SUV. Last on the news front, President Trump lashed out at two Fox News hosts and called for one of them to be taken off the air in a Truth Social post addressing Fox News executives directly. Trump first reacted to a Fox News Sunday interview with Massachusetts Democrat Representative Jake Auchincloss, accusing anchor Shannon Bream of never correcting Democrats when they spread propaganda and lies on her show. He then slammed co-host of The Five, Jessica Tarlow, who is also a liberal panelist on the Sunday show, to be taken off the air for being a, quote, real loser. Trump continued, "Tell Shannon Bream of Fox News that it's not the SAVE Act, it's the Save America Act. A big difference. Also, when she insists on having lightweight Democrat congressmen such as Jake Auchincloss on her show, she should correct them when they spew out Democratic propaganda and lies. She never does. I always close deals, unlike the Dems, and did great with China in every way, also unlike the Dems." There you have it. That's Trump being Trump. Promises made, promises kept, and all that. Logic 247. That's our 24/7 around-the-clock E-mini alert service. It's not just E-minis. It's also crude, gold, and silver. We're in week 401. Over the last 401 weeks, we've issued over 21,900 individual handcrafted alerts. And we've averaged on a weekly basis 20% or less of the alerts being stopped out based simply on market structure. A simple process we teach all of our passport holders. This week, since the markets opened Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern, we've issued a total of 44 alerts. Now, Valerie's been on a bit of a vacation, so she did this recap last night at 10:30 p.m. At the time she did the recap, we were still waiting on the outcome of 13. So that gave us 31 actionable alerts, of which 2 or 6% would have been stopped out Again, based simply on market structure and the simple process we teach all passport holders. Now, every logic alert has an entry price, long or short, an initial target, in most cases additional targets, and then a final trade to target. The purpose of the alerts is to help you learn how to read a chart. If you never actually trade a logic alert, at least use them for the purpose intended. Because if you can't read a chart, if you don't know where to anticipate potential support and potential resistance, it's going to be a real challenge for you to become a consistently profitable trader. So keep that in mind. Now, normally we cut straight to the CTAs right here, but I haven't done this in a while, so I'm going to do it right now. So let's roll back to Sunday night. So last week we ended up with 54 alerts issued, 48 actionable, and 5 stop outs, which was 10%. This week, S means sell, B means buy, T is initial target, PS is potential support, and then the final trade to target is always a weekly trading zone. So that one never filled, that short ES. The gap fill on the ES did. Short on the Dow never filled, short on the Russell never filled. Short on the NQ filled. The long on crude oil filled. Short on gold filled. Short on silver filled. The long on the Dow filled. Long on the Russell filled. Stop out on the NQ. Short on crude oil. Long on gold. Long on silver. Long on the ES. Gap fill on the NQ. Now that was all Sunday night. Then we roll into Monday. Long on the NQ. Short on silver. Long on silver. Long on gold. Long on the ES. Short on the ES. Long on the Dow. Short on the Dow. Stop out on the Russell. Short on the Russell. Short on the NQ. Short on gold. Long on crude. Another long on crude. Oh, there's a short on crude. Any previous untriggered longs or shorts still valid. Now we roll into Tuesday. Long on the ES, a short on the ES that never triggered. A long on the Dow, there was not a valid entry. Short on the Dow, never triggered. Long on the Russell, short on the Russell, no trigger. Long on the NQ, no entry. Short on the NQ, not yet. Short on crude, filled. Long on crude, hasn't yet, or it hasn't at the time she did the recap last night. I don't think it will today. Long on gold. Short on gold. Long on silver. Short on silver, hasn't filled. And that's it. Okay, so that's every Logic 247 alert so far this week. And so now, let me show you this one more time. That'll put everything in context. 44 alerts issued. Still waiting on 13 when she did the recap last night. She'll update it this afternoon. 31 actionable, 2 stop outs, you saw them, 6%. Okay? Now, 401 weeks is a very long time, but years before we had Logic 247, we had our original alert service, the concierge trade alerts. Now, they're different in a lot of different ways. The Logic alerts can come out anytime around the clock, 2 a.m. or 2 p.m. Futures trade around the clock. We have traders around the globe. Our day session is their night session, and vice versa. But the CTAs are a totally different animal. And I can't go into all the ways they're different. But I'll say this. They don't come out around the clock. They're published typically 5 minutes ahead of the Globex Open. The Wednesday session we're in right now started last night at 6 p.m. Eastern. So 5 minutes before the market opened last night, all of our traders had all of these targets. S&P 500, the Dow, the Russell, crude, the NQ, gold, and silver. Now, it's going to look a lot different when we go through the charts today. You'll see these targets drawn on the individual charts. But because of what happened with the ceasefire issue, we gapped above the targets or below the targets, I think, on almost every market. So, it is what it is. Let's go take a look at the charts. And then Michael will be here in about 15 minutes. Here's the daily chart of the S&P 500 E-mini futures. As you can see, we're hovering right around that 62% reverse fib. Now, why do I say reverse fibs? Well, in a downtrend, you draw your fibs from the high to the low. In an uptrend, you draw your fibs from the low to the high. And that right there is the all-time historic high for the S&P 500 E-mini. We have opened above the BBC. That's important. We closed above it yesterday, opened above it last night, but we sold off a little bit, and you can see we're physically touching. So to officially go from a downtrend to an uptrend, we need to see a daily candle both open and close above the green line. Price always reverts to the mean. In our case, the mean is green. It's called the BBC. Just stands for bull bear cross. When price crosses above the green line, we're bullish and expect higher prices. Below the green line, we're bearish and expect lower prices. Higher prices, lower prices. Now, as I said, price, no matter what you trade and how you trade it, price still reverts to the mean. It's just kind of like gravity, it is. But notice that the pullback holds more often than it doesn't. Whether you're pulling down from above, or in this case, pulling up from below. Here, we spent 1, 2, 3, 4 days, but the pullback held, because every candle is physically touching the green line. So you got a leg, a retracement, the pullback held, another leg, putting in a double top there. Then the pullback held, and then the pullback held, but we know eventually it's going to trade through like it did here. Then the downtrend started, and right here on March 5th, we pulled back to the BBC, or reverted to the mean, and we didn't touch the BBC again until April 7th. No, April 6th. There's yesterday, and this big boy, that's today, which started last night at 6 p.m. Eastern. Okay. Now we're off the high of the day. So the big question, are we going to rally into the close, or is there going to be a lot of profit taking? I don't know. I'll have to wait and see, just like you. Now, all alerts, both the Logic 247 alerts and the Concierge Trade alerts, they're all created on the 30-minute chart. There's nothing magic about 30 minutes. It's just a time frame I chose many years ago. And they say if it's not broke, leave it alone. So I have. Now the vertical line separates today, Wednesday. Here's Tuesday. Back over here's Monday. There's the Sunday night gap lower open. The horizontal lines are the weekly trading zones. Now, obviously, we're above the highest weekly zone, I think, on every one of the indices. I did not know there would be a ceasefire. So, we've published the zones every Monday morning for over 16 years for our members. Now, the way it works is when price runs up to a weekly zone, we expect resistance till proven otherwise. When price drops to a zone, we expect support until proven otherwise. Support leads you to resistance. Resistance leads you to support. Support sends you back to resistance. Over and over, again and again. It's a never-ending cycle. It's just how markets work. So yesterday, we had resistance twice, right at the highest weekly zone. And then last night, we gapped open above that zone. And then on the second 30-minute candle, we pulled back. Okay? And look at that. Right at the BBC. This was a big red candle. Pullback held, and we ended up closing way up here. Then overnight, the markets just kind of went sideways. Looks like they're trying to rally again. So from here, what should you expect? Potential resistance right there, 68.36. And then again at about 68.44. Now, by close of business Friday, we very well could be back down into this playing field. Okay? And that's basically what the zones do, is for our traders, they create sort of a playing field for the whole week. By close of business, they're published Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. By close of business on Friday, we expect price to be within the range set forth by the zones. See, the highest weekly zone was 66.69 / 66.70. And the lowest zone was 65.10 / 11. So do I think price could find its way back into this area by close of business Friday, 2 days from now? Well, based on 16 years of history, that's a big yes. But because of what's happening on the world stage, maybe this is a week where everything closes above the zones. We'll see. Hang on for me 1 second, please. I'm back. False alarm. All right, let's pick up the pace because Michael will be here shortly. Russell. Okay. As you can see yesterday, support at the zone, resistance, support. Look at that. Support, support, support. Resistance, resistance, resistance. Once the zones are published Monday morning, they don't change in any way whatsoever. Now, what's interesting is the Russell is back below the BBC. And we know the pullback holds more often than not. If price can trade through the BBC, look for resistance here, 26.53, and then again at 26.56, 26.61, and 26.64. Okay, and that right there is the highest zone for the week, the NQ. Now this morning in the live training room, I drew fibs on the entire move up, which really began yesterday about 11 o'clock, long before the announcement of the ceasefire. As you can see, we rallied into the close, closing near the high of the day, and then we gapped open. We gapped above the long target. But here's what I want to show you. I drew fibs. Now these are not reverse fibs, these are regular fibs, because that's an uptrend. So we draw from the low to the high. And this morning when we pulled back to the 24% fib retracement, that's the shallowest possible fib retracement, we got a nice bounce. We're back above the BBC. You got potential resistance around 25,202. And then about 25,249. 256. Crude oil. Crude gap lower. Is that the lowest zone, 91.50? I don't think so. Nope, 73 bucks is the lowest. But as you can see, on that sell-off, where did crude find support? At the zone, 91.50/55. Caught a bounce, came back down to test that zone, 91.50/55. These are the zones published Monday morning, 6:15 a.m. Eastern. Right now, we got blue and climbing, which is bullish, but we're below the BBC, which is bearish. The black step line is directly above price, so is the BBC. So price is trapped. You've got support here and resistance ×2 right here. If we get above the BBC, there's your resistance there, there, and definitely right there, 98.80. Jot that down. Gold. Here's where gold opened last night, and it ran right to the target. We opened at, we'll call it 48. It's about a $2,200 30-minute candle up to the target. And we pulled back into support at blue and climbing and made a run, and we're definitely way off the high of the day, or the high of the session. The high we put in last night was 48.88. Now, when you trade through a CTA target on a retracement, the top side of that, in this case long target, can become good support. When you trade through a CTA short target on the retracement, the underside of the short target can become resistance. So we consolidated at the target. Now we're trying to pull up to the BBC. The big question there will be, can price trade through it? If so, it's going to run into a zone, 48.20/21. Only one of three things happens when price encounters a zone. 70% of the time it's consolidation. 20% of the time rejection, 10% of the time the slice. Now, when you get a slice like this, that's when a 30-minute candle slices through a zone like it's not even there. Price will typically retrace back to the zone it sliced through and continue in the direction of the slice. Sadly, we failed to put in a higher high. So we got a high, a lower high, a lower high, and we're about to find out if we've got even a lower high. Okay. So this uptrend's on the verge of becoming a downtrend. And this is where we closed yesterday, right there. And then we gapped up on the open, ran to the target, pulled back, and boom. It's over. Gapped open. Now you only need 2 pennies in silver to get you gold for the day. So this candle opened at 73.45 and ran $1. That's a $5,000 30-minute candle. Right there. True story. Per contract. Then we went sideways overnight, and now see how we pull back to the top side of the long target? Perfect support. The black step line is attempting to cross from the left side to the right side of red and falling. If it succeeds in doing that, maybe we can trade back above the BBC. If we trade through the BBC, there's a bearish cross right here. That could be potential resistance. And then right here, where blue turned to red, that's potential resistance, 77.15. It brings us all the way back to the daily chart, which looks pretty much the same as it did a few minutes ago. To become a member, email Valerie, support@cfrn.net. Or you can call her, 949-42-EMINI. You'll probably get her voicemail, leave a message, she'll call you back. Either way, she's going to email you all the information about becoming a member. Once you become a passport holder, you get 2 hours of live training every trading day. On top of 2 hours of live training, you get private one-on-one mentoring. All you got to do is ask. The strategy you learn, the indicators you use as a passport holder are fluid across all markets and all time frames. You'll get the Logic 247 alerts around the clock. That'll help you learn how to read the chart. You get the concierge trade alerts, typically 5 minutes ahead of the Globex Open each evening. Every Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern, you get the weekly trading zones. And every Thursday night, you get to attend the members-only workshop at 8 p.m. Eastern. Plus, you get the golden keys that open all the private channels in Telegram. There's quite a few. Everything a trader needs, all under one roof, one low price. Just email Valerie, support@cfrn.net. And the man of the hour is here. We are ready.
All right. Man of the half hour. All right. Bring it over.
Okay, man of the half hour. Well said. Okay,
All right.
looks good.
Good. Here we go. Right on time today. Look at me. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Wednesday, the 8th day of April 2026. Now, if you have not taken a free trial with us and you want to take a free trial with us, go here to mytradingIQ.com, click on the purple button. There is no credit card required for the trial. Click on that purple button and it will bring you to this registration page. Right on this page, all that we ask for is your name, your email, and your phone number. Down here at the very bottom, we ask for your TradingView login ID. Right? If you want to have the indicators indicating on your desktop, give us that information. We'll get that done for you. We'll make that happen. All right. So we had a pretty good day today. On the NQ, we're up 108. Well, before I say that, I got to say, if you're going to read the spreadsheet, you got to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. On the NQ today, we're up 108 ticks. On the Russell, 35. On the YM, 79. On the ES, 31. That puts us at $1,497.50 on the year. Not on the year, on the day. And today it took 3 minutes and one trade to get to 1,050. That was a Russell trade. We got 21 ticks on to start off the session. Put us at 1,050 with 10 contracts on, or 105 with one. We took 34 trades with 4 stop outs today. Put us at 88.24%. Our trades are break even or better. And on the month now, we're at $5,877 over 5 business days, averaging $1,175 per contract per 2-hour business day. On the year, we're now at $72,182 over 59 business days, averaging $1,223 per contract per 2-hour business day. Now, following the 24/20 blueprint, if you were to quit trading when you get the goal for the day and add 1 contract per month, so far this year you would have only had to work 7.25 hours, 7.25 hours. You'd be up $20,045, averaging $2,764 per hour. Now, to do that, you would have to have all the exact same slippages I did and everything else. So your number is going to be different than that, but could be better, could be worse. Who knows? I probably get more slippage than everybody else because I have more contracts than most people. So it should be better than that, probably. All right, so let's get into it. Now, first I want to just look at the bigger picture here just a little bit and see. All right, so the SPY is not dropping like I thought it was going to. The ES pulled back to here originally, and now it's running up. So that's doing more than I thought it was going to do as well. All right, well, interesting stuff. Let's go back here. We'll start out with the Russell. Now, our very first trade of the day was on the Russell. So I hit control and back. Go back to the beginning of that. Here it is. This trade here, we picked up 21 ticks. And then the one right after it, we picked up 5 more to get us to 26. And then we picked up 10 more to get us to 36. Then we stopped out. That put us down to 11. I think this is the rest of it right here. We went from 11 to 25, then 25 to 30, and then 30 to 35. And that is where we ended up with the Russell this morning. There is no trade here on the Russell right now, but there could be. We do have FOMC meeting minutes coming up this afternoon at 2 p.m. That can move the market once I actually get into it. But it's not like something pops out on the screen and you see that something's changed. You have to actually read it and digest it. All right, so it won't likely move the market immediately. Now this is the YM, and we have almost the whole YM right here. I think we do have every trade that we took on the YM is right here. We started out with a +5, then went 10 more to +15, then 11 to 26, then 19 to 45, and then 34 to 79. That is where we ended it. Right, those are all the trades we had there on the YM. Does not have a trade right now. If we got a down close followed by an up close, we'd have a trade right now, but we don't have that yet. Looking at this little bit of it here during the break, it looks like there was a trade right there, a trade right there, a trade right there, and that's it. All right, that's it for the YM. Now on the ES, let's see. On the ES, we started out here. We started out with a stop out. I mean, original 4 trades, 3 of them were stop outs on the ES. So we started out with a stop out. We were -10. Then picked up 12 ticks, got to +2. Then we stopped out again, put us at -8. And we stopped out again, put us at -18. And fortunately, the trades that we did take on the ES, they were pretty big trades. So if you look at them all right here, I think that's the majority of it. That's all on it right there. I think. Nah, there's more. Anyway, we went from -18, so we got +4 there to go to -14. Then we got +10 to go to -4. then +4 to 0, +1 to 1, then 16 to go to +17, then 8 to go to +25, and then from 25 we went to 31. 25 went to 31, and then it looks like I did not write in the rest of these trades here. So I stopped writing stuff in at 31, and I'm sure we got more than that. There, there, and there. I don't remember how much. I think one of those, at least one of those, was 8 ticks. One of them I think was 4 ticks. And I don't remember the other one. But anyway, we ended up pretty well on the yes. Okay, and it's pulling back now to almost give us trade setup right now. It's not quite there yet though. But nothing there. The Russell could give us a trade here. Let me move my stuff out of the way so I can take that Russell trade on and close if it happens. Now the markets have really started to crawl here. There's like no movement left in them right now. So on the Russell, it's got a low of 6.2. Now it's even lower. It's got a low of 5.9. So we're buying 7.9. Unless it goes down anymore. Kind of watching over there. All right. I'll kind of watch it over here while I do the NQ. All right. Let's go back here on the NQ. We didn't have any really big trades on the NQ. No full targets on the NQ today. I thought we were going to get a couple of them, but we didn't. A couple times it seemed like it was going to start running, but it stopped. So for today on the NQ, our first trade was a +20. The next one was +11 to get us to 31. And I just put this bunch right here. That was a +11 to get us to 31. Then went from 31 to 52, 52 to 62, 62 to 73, 73 to 86, and 86 to 95, and 95 to 108. That's almost going to give us a trade here on the Russell. And that's where we ended up with the NQ. Now during the break, looks like that would have been a stop out right there. And that would have been some profit right there. And that was it. 2 trades during the break. All right, so the Russell still hasn't happened. The order is still waiting though. It's a little 5.9, so we're in the right place. All right. If you have not taken a free trial with us, go to mytradingiq.com, click on the purple button, the credit card required. Once you do that, fill out the form. Okay. Over here now, let's get this ready for any trades that we do get. We just dropped down on the Russell. I think we're out of that trade opportunity now. It just started to tank a little bit there. So today this becomes a 77. This is 4/8. Don't have anything yet. And if we start right now, we'll say we have 20 minutes. It's about to roll over to 20. 0 and 0. Then we're going to divide by 0 error here to put some data in. All right, and this becomes a 77. All right, so 16.5 minutes is our average now. Get back in here. You see how the Russell did not give an up close, they gave a down close at 35.5 up to 37.5 now would be a trade on the Russell. As long as it stays above 34.6, then we still have potential for a trade here. I didn't notice it, but this is actually a trade here on the YM right here. This was not a trade on the ES. The Russell's about to trigger. It's not a trade on the ES, not a trade on the NQ, because the ES didn't go full cycle on the last one, which was right here, and the NQ didn't go full cycle on the last one, which was right there. Okay, but the YM is starting to move, and I think the Russell's probably going to trigger soon. Here's the YM trade. Okay, it hasn't gone enough to bump the stop to +5 yet, though. It's going to get up to 0.2 right there. It should go up here into these numbers right here. So it should work out, and we should have triggered in on the Russell. Just there. Okay, we just triggered in with slippage. Okay, we're at +5 on the YM now. Go to plus 10 on the YM, and we're out. Plus 10 on the YM, and we triggered in bad entry here on the Russell. We're off by 5 ticks on the Russell entry. Okay, well, we're still going to go with it. It should make it up to 40.3. Is there anything up there that says it should go any further? Right here, 39.9, 39.2. Any one of those would be enough to get the stop to plus 5. Okay, but our first trade was 10 ticks here on the YM. Slide that over here. Just 10. There. Need one there. Okay, this is going to get up to 0.7 above the stop. I think it's going to. I don't think that'll be an issue. It should get up here to 39.2. Do you guys see what I'm looking at when I say that? We've got a horrible entry. We're 5 ticks off where we should have entered right now. But we still have the potential for a trade here that can give us some profit. All right, so nothing else is giving us a trade right now. The Russell, if we would have had a proper entry, then 0.2 is what we've been looking to get up to. It would have been 8.2. So our stop would have easily been a break even if we added this thing for plus 5. We'd be out of this thing with plus 5 right now. But it didn't, so we're in it. We're in it to win it. I didn't check any questions over here. If anybody has any, let's see. No questions. Good. I mean, not good, but if you had any questions, I'd be happy to answer. But I didn't miss anybody's questions. All right. So, where do you think the market's going to go? Think they're going to continue going up? Think they're going to sell off? The daily flipped the YBR up. Now, if we close up here at the end of the session, that's going to bring the MA1 pretty close to the BBC on the daily. Be pretty close to bringing it up there. Now, because of the way that the markets are right now, getting it up there pretty close be something like this. You see the gap that it had from here to here before. It was a big move that got it up there pretty close before and then made a huge move down. So I wouldn't go selling all your gold yet. What I mean by that is, let's see, it's self-preservation mode. If you ever got that way. This Russell trade is just taking a while, isn't it? Did we start this 5 minutes ago? I'm not used to being in trades this long. I'm gonna take a nap. Come back and see if it's still going. It's gonna get up there. 39.2. That's what it's headed toward. 39.2. The swing high is 40.3, but Dom says 39.2, and that would be enough to get the stop to plus 5. So I'll be happy with that. If we can get it. We need an up close on the NQ to get into the overbought. Same thing with ES. We actually need up closes everywhere. Up close on this bar on the Russell so we can get our stop to plus 5. And up close everywhere else to get it into the overbought. Our stop is all the way down at 5.2, and that is just below the swing low. That is something. It's 5 ticks a slip. It's going to be the difference in this trade. That's what I'm thinking, Michael. And I'm thinking this is more of a strategy by Trump than anything else. No, I don't know what Iran's saying or doing. But what I do think is once they break the ceasefire, then I don't think there's going to be any notice to the next thing. I think I'm going to wake up one morning and there's going to be a big hole somewhere in Iran. Probably several big holes. Glass parking lot near the sea. Yeah. And I mean, any one of them could step in and do it too. All right, so we finally stopped out on that, Russ. Let's put that in over here. You know, Israel could get fed up with it and just and you don't know what Trump's been saying in it, behind the doors. Anything can happen at any time. War. So we don't have any trades here. This is not a trade here because we never made it full cycle there. This won't be a trade here because we never made it full cycle there. This just stuffed us out here to the tick. If we had not slipped 5 ticks on that, we would have gotten +5. So that's what I'm thinking, Michael. They'll let the women and children go home for a week. But I think there's other places that they really want to put a big hole in. The infrastructure is not really what they want to do. I mean, that would make the whole country suffer. And no, it's not about making the whole country suffer. But I would think right now, just giving them a little more rope and making themselves. That's what I think. Wow, it's a quiet period. It's been kind of quiet most of the day. I mean, we did all right, but there were periods today where it was just going sideways. Like it is now. This period right here. There. This whole period right here. If you shrink it all up, from here was like a slow grind down. Then it went pretty quick, and then it came right back. Inverted head and shoulder pattern. We're at a point right now where it should actually find some support and move up. That's what I would think. But we'll see. Just trade what's in front of us. We've now gone full cycle on the NQ. Not on the Russell, not on the YM, and not on the ES. Okay. Yeah, we usually have enough in here. Get the goal for the day anyway. Just flip the YVRs down everywhere. That's good. Guess what we're looking for here. We're all looking for shorts now. Watch the NQ for the down close. Watch the NQ for the down close. It's the only one that's off the mid-band so far. We need up closes on these guys over here. All of them, really. This needs to get up and hit the mid-band. They all need to get up and hit the mid-band. YM's just about there. I would go with the YM down close and then Q down close right now. Nothing here on the ES. Here's the NQ. And that gave me 10 quicks. 10 ticks really quick, and the YM gave me 5. So they both happened so fast, I didn't get a chance to even show it to you. I think they both gave me what I have it set to do. Let me go see. Scroll down to the bottom. All right. It was a little bit different. The NQ, the YM actually gave me 10. And the NQ gave me 4. So it's almost the same thing. So backwards. Show you that. Four ticks from there to there and 10 ticks from there to there. So that puts us at 4 trades, 1 stop out. 4 ticks there and 10 more. So we're just about break even in the session right now. And it's 125. We almost have a trade here on the NQ. We need an up close. Almost have a trade here on the ES. Almost have a trade on the YM. These 3 are the ones that are closest to trades right now. I mean, you bump it to 20 instead of bumping it to 10. The ES could be a trade here. NQ needs an up close followed by a down close. The ES just needs a down close. The YM doesn't have anything. There is the ES. The NQ needs that down close now. ES needs to go 4 ticks in profit. This number right here is what the ES wants to get down to. That would be 9 ticks if it gets there. Fucking 2. That puts us positive on the session. What was that? It was this number right here. All right, so we're out with the 2 there and 10 on the NQ. I think I got 10 on the NQ. I don't know, but I know I got 2 there. See what it says about the NQ. NQ 90, 89. It was 10 on the NQ, and it was. Wait a minute. The ES was more than 2. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's something else. The ES was exactly 2. Okay. It was the NQ again. All right. So let's add 2 on the ES and 10 more on the NQ. Okay, we're almost at the daily goal. I should let the ES go. I knew it was going to keep going down. Did you get the full 20 on that one, Michael? On the NQ? Watch ES again right here. It wants to go down. This time the ES, I don't see any number on the downside for it. Or on the upside. The NQ is at a point where it could give us a trade again. Yes, the NQ are both at points for a trade. The YM needs an up close followed by a down close. We have a minute left. It could all happen right here. Trade there, up, down, there too. And there's the ES. Yes. Now we had gotten positive. The totals, we were up to 650. Back in here, the NQ could give us a trade still. The ES, we are in a trade. Plus 4 on that. There you go. That is the goal for the day equivalent. And the NQ also has a short here. Let's put those 4 more in here. To 6, and this over here goes to 7. And so we're at 100. That's where we were this morning. Well, we got the goal for the day, 1,050. We got the goal for the day this morning. All right, and it is 129. So let's go back over here for just a second. And here it is. So if I quit right now, we got the goal for the day again on the day. I'm thinking this is going to go down to the swing low right here. Let's look up. Doesn't really have any numbers it's trying to get to on the upside or on the downside. Charts are saying it should go down. We'll see. If it stops us out, bang, it stopped us out. That's going to put us negative on the session. All right, that puts this down to minus 22. Just minus 750 on the session. Oh, that stinks. Wait, we gotta put the 2 over here too. 2 over there. Let's get back at it. We'll be able to do another one in here. Well, I guess I'll just have to wrap it up this way, guys. You didn't get in that one? Yeah, I was thinking about not doing it because we were within a minute of being at the end, and I would have just stopped with exactly the goal for the day. But I took a chance, and now I ran out of time. It's just gonna end up being a white day in here. 71.43% of our trades were break even or better. We had 9 trades with 2 stops. In this session, we ended up minus $75 or minus 750. We were up until that last trade. We were positive, the goal for the day. This is how we're going to wrap it up. We're still, in 16 minutes time, we're still averaging the goal for the day every session. And this day was no different. We did have the goal for the day. So if you didn't take that last trade with me, then you would have been done with the goal for the day in this session. If you haven't taken a free trial with us, go ahead to mytradingiq.com, click on the purple button. There's no credit card required. Click on that purple button. It's going to bring you to the registration page. Just fill it out. Okay, when you fill it out, you will be sent a link to get into the morning session, and we get indicators indicating for you on your desktop. Okay. All right, guys, that is it. With that, I can pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Dwayne is ready.
Yep, I'm ready. Recap of the morning session.
Today, it took 3 minutes and 1 trade to get to $1,050.
Good job.
Thank you very much.
Okay, guys, I covered everything in granular fashion before Michael came on. So if you missed any part of today's broadcast, 10 minutes after I sign off, you can go to youtube.com/CFRN, and you can watch today's broadcast in its entirety or fast forward to whatever part you missed or want to see. youtube.com/CFRN. And again, to become a member, just email Valerie, support@CFRN.net. She'll send you all the information you need to get signed up. A good word for today. That'll wrap it up. Live on purpose for a purpose. Ephesians 5:15. Be very careful then how you live, making the most of every opportunity. If you make wise decisions now, you'll have a better future. If you waste your time now, you'll have regrets. That's why you need to do the right thing when you have the opportunity to do it. Paul wrote, "Now to him who is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we ask or think, according to the power that works in us." Ephesians 3:20. God is able to do great things as his power works through you. So it's not just about God doing things for you. He also wants to do things through you. Stop wishing your life would change and start taking action. Pray and study God's word. And as he speaks to your heart, step out in faith and do what he leads you to do. God created you to live on purpose for a purpose. He hasn't just called you to be busy. He's called you to bear good fruit. It's easy to get caught up in the busyness of life, but you need to take time to think about how you're spending your time. Before you go to sleep, reflect on the things that filled your day. Which of them fulfill God's plan and purpose, and which of them were a distraction? Ask God to reveal the things that need to change and ways you can make better choices that line up with his wisdom. Then lean on him for the strength you need to make those changes. If you do, you'll be fulfilled, peaceful, and excited about how God is working in your life. And that's our good word for today. Thanks for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with his mercy and with his grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.